All right, welcome back for another deep dive. This time, we're going to be looking at Mooncast,
Oh, yeah.
which is, well, it's a persistent virtual world, but it has this super unique history. It actually evolved from a brutal reality TV show.
Wow.
And now, centuries later, like the descendants of the original players still inhabit this world.
Really?
It's wild. And we've got design docs, in-world historical records,
Right.
even some summaries of all this stuff
Yeah.
to try to really get down to the bottom of how this whole land ownership system is going to work.
So cool.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
So imagine, right, you're trying to, stake your claim in a digital world.
Yeah.
How do you even begin?
I mean, it's fascinating because it's such a blend of old and new, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You've got this concept of owning land, which is, a very real thing. But in Mooncast, it's all digital, it's all virtual, and the rules and the systems are still being developed.
That's right. We're talking about a system in progress, which makes it even more exciting to explore.
Totally.
So let's dive into the specifics.
Okay.
How will someone actually claim land in this world?
Okay, so think of it this way. You've got the terrain of the world, right? It's broken up into this massive grid.
Okay.
Each square is 1 meter by 1 meter.
Right.
To claim one of these squares, you're going to need something called a land claim token.
Okay.
So it's like you're placing a bid in a virtual land auction.
So right from the start, you've got this element of competition.
Oh, for sure.
You can't just waltz in and say like, oh, I want that spot.
Not quite. No, you're right. Once you place your token, there's a contested period.
Uh-huh.
This is where the strategy really comes in.
Okay.
Other players can actually try to outbid you for that square.
Oh, wow. So I can already see the tension building.
Yeah.
Players are going to be scouting out prime locations, waiting for the right moment,
Yeah.
trying to predict what other players are going to do.
Absolutely. And the location is key. Let's say, for example, you want to build the simplest structure in Mooncast,
Okay.
which is going to be a little tent
Okay.
that requires 9 squares of clear, level land.
Okay. So you need to think ahead.
Oh, yeah.
You need to consider what's around the spot you've chosen.
Yeah.
You can't just plop down a tent anywhere.
Right. And this is where the system starts to get really interesting.
Oh, okay.
Every single piece of land in Mooncast, it has a wildness level.
Okay.
Think of it like a spectrum, from completely overgrown to perfectly maintained.
So it's not just about owning land, it's about taking care of it.
Exactly.
Or things can, get a little out of control.
Exactly. And here's the twist. Wildness can actually spread.
What?
Yeah. So if you let your land get too overgrown, it might actually start to affect your neighbor's properties.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's clever. So now you're encouraging players to work together,
Yeah.
to maybe even form alliances to keep this wildness, in check.
Absolutely. It creates a natural incentive to cooperate.
Yeah.
Some players might even specialize in land maintenance and offer their services to others for a fee.
Oh, yeah. Imagine like a whole network of players dedicated to taming the wilderness.
I know, right?
That's cool.
That's cool.
But what about the buildings themselves? We talked about tents. What else can players do with them?
Oh, man. That's where the real potential is.
Okay.
Like, imagine building a crafting station, right?
Okay.
You can not only craft your own items, but you can actually let other players use it too.
Oh, right.
For a fee, of course.
Okay. So now your building becomes like a hub,
Yeah.
like for player interaction and economic activity.
Yeah, you got it.
You're not just creating something for yourself. You're actually like providing a service to the community.
Exactly. And that's a key part of, the Mooncast philosophy. It really encourages players to think entrepreneurially, to see their land and buildings as assets that can generate income.
This is starting to sound like a virtual gold rush.
Kind of. Right.
Players are rushing to stake their claims,
Yeah.
build these structures,
Yeah.
establish themselves in this like digital economy.
And just like any gold rush, there are going to be those people who are savvy, who are resourceful,
Yeah.
maybe even a little lucky, and,
Who come out on top.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about those crafting stations.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, what kinds of items are players going to be able to create? How will the crafting system actually work?
Yeah.
So think of it as, you've got this network of recipes and materials.
Okay.
Some recipes require very specific items. Others, give you a bit more flexibility.
Okay, so there's room for specialization.
Yeah.
Even within the crafting system itself.
Absolutely.
You could have players who focus on gathering like the rarest materials, while others become master craftspeople.
Exactly. And the crafting stations, that's where these specialists come together.
Okay.
They provide, the tools and the environment for players to create valuable items.
Okay.
Items that they can use themselves or sell to others.
So it sounds like there's going to be this really vibrant marketplace in Mooncast.
Totally.
Players are trading resources, they're trading crafted goods, services.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
It'll be fascinating to see, what kind of economy emerges.
Yeah.
Will it be dominated by a few powerful players, or will it be something more decentralized where everyone has a chance?
Yeah. That's a great question.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, how those crafting fees are going to be determined.
Yeah.
Will there be some kind of standard rate, or is it just going to be like a free-for-all?
Oh, that's a great question. And honestly, the developers are still working out,
Okay.
but I imagine there will be some sort of market mechanism.
Right.
You think about it, if a station owner sets their fees too high, players are just going to go somewhere else.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a built-in incentive to keep prices reasonable.
Right.
Or else you lose business to the competition.
Yeah. Competition's always a powerful force.
Yeah, even in a virtual world.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's one of the things that makes Mooncast so dynamic, right?
Uh-huh.
You've got this constant push and pull between, cooperation and competition.
Yeah.
Like individual ambition versus the need to work together.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance.
It is.
It seems like the developers have put a lot of thought into it.
They have, and it's going to be fascinating to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, especially when you consider that buildings in Mooncast aren't permanent.
Right.
They decay over time.
Yeah.
And they can be damaged by monsters.
Oh, yeah?
Wait, monsters? I thought this was all about land ownership and crafting.
Yeah.
Where do monsters fit into this?
Oh, they add an element of risk.
Okay.
Unpredictability.
Okay.
So imagine, right? You've invested all this time and resources. You've built this amazing crafting station. Mm-hmm. It's generating income. You're like this respected member of the community.
Yeah.
And then one day, bam, monster attack.
Oh, no.
Your building's in ruins.
That's rough.
Yeah. So players are going to need to factor in the possibility of monster attack.
For sure.
When they're planning their builds.
Yeah.
Absolutely location, building materials,
right.
Even the design of the structure itself.
Okay.
All those things are going to play a role in how well a building can withstand an attack.
So it's not just about creating a functional building.
Right.
It's got to be defensible, too.
Exactly. And this actually ties into another key aspect of Mooncast.
What's that?
Community defense.
Oh.
Players will need to work together to protect their settlements from these monster attacks.
So this is starting to sound like a full-fledged MMO.
It is.
All the challenges, all the complexities.
Exactly. That's what makes it so exciting.
Yeah.
You're not just playing a game, you're participating in this living, breathing world where your actions have real consequences.
And where your creations can be destroyed by giant monsters.
Oh, of course, can't forget about those.
Right.
But even in that destruction, there's opportunity.
Oh.
When a building is destroyed, its contents are dropped as a loot box.
Okay.
Which only the owner can open.
But there's a chance to recover some of your losses.
Exactly. It mitigates the risk.
Right.
Makes sure that even the most devastating setback doesn't completely wipe you out.
I like it. Okay.
Yeah.
But let's go back to the crafting stations for a second.
Okay.
What kind of passive income potential are we talking about here?
Yeah.
Could players make a decent living just by owning one of these stations?
That's hard to say at this point.
Okay.
It'll depend on a lot of factors.
Yeah.
The type of station, the location, the demand for the items it produces,
Sure.
and of course the fees that the owner sets.
So there's a lot of potential.
Yeah.
But there are also a lot of variables.
Right.
Players will need to do their research and strategize and adapt to the market.
For sure, yeah. This isn't some get-rich-quick scheme.
Right.
But for those players who are willing to put in the time and the effort,
yeah,
there's a real chance to build a successful business.
Become a virtual tycoon.
There you go.
With a whole network of crafting stations.
Exactly.
Just churning out valuable goods.
Yeah, now you're talking.
That's awesome.
That's the kind of ambition Mooncast is all about.
Yeah, it's a world where the only limits are your imagination.
Exactly.
And your willingness to work hard.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder what kind of impact this system will have on the players.
Oh, yeah.
Like, will it foster a sense of community? Or will it create a divide between the haves and the have-nots?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's one that sociologists will be debating for years to come.
Right.
But I think it's safe to say that Mooncast will be a fascinating social experiment.
Yeah.
Like a digital petri dish.
Yeah.
Where we can observe the emergence of new economic systems, new social structures.
It's exciting.
It is. It really is.
Well, let's not get too philosophical. We're supposed to be talking about land ownership and crafting.
Yeah. It's going to be a wild ride.
Yeah, it really does feel like we're, I don't know, on the cusp of something really groundbreaking.
Oh, for sure.
This whole concept, a player-driven economy,
Right.
powered by land ownership and crafting.
Mm-hmm.
It's like nothing, we've really seen before.
Yeah, it's a bold experiment, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And it'll be really interesting to see how players adapt to it.
Oh.
Will they embrace that entrepreneurial spirit,
Yeah.
or will they kind of shy away from the risk?
Yeah, you know what? I think there will be a mix of both.
Probably.
You'll have your pioneers,
Yeah.
The players who are like eager to stake their claims, build their empires.
Yeah.
But then you'll also have those who,
Yeah.
maybe prefer a more laid-back approach,
Yeah.
focus on crafting, or maybe even just exploring the world.
Exactly. And that diversity of play styles is what will make Mooncast so compelling.
It's a world that caters to different tastes, different ambitions.
Yeah.
It's like a virtual melting pot.
It is.
Where players from all walks of life
Mm-hmm.
can come together and
Yeah.
create something truly, truly unique.
And it's all happening in this really fascinating setting that, this world that evolved from a reality TV show.
I know.
It adds this layer of depth and intrigue that you just wouldn't find in a typical MMO.
It's like the developers took this crazy premise
Yeah.
and turned it into something really special.
Yeah.
This world where the past and the present are like intertwined, where the lines between, reality and virtuality are blurred.
And where the future is still being written.
That's the most exciting part.
I know, right?
We have no idea what Mooncast will look like in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years.
Yeah. It's a blank canvas, just waiting for the players to fill it.
I love it.
Their creations, their stories, their
Yeah.
dreams,
Well, folks, there you have it. Our deep dive into the world of Mooncast.
That was awesome.
Its unique approach to land ownership
Mm-hmm.
and all the exciting possibilities that lie ahead.
For sure.
I don't know about you, but I'm ready to jump in and start building my virtual empire.
I think I'm going to stick to exploring for now.
That's cool.
But who knows? Maybe
Yeah.
one day I'll catch that entrepreneurial bug.
You never know.
I'll join you in that race for virtual riches.
Until then,
Yeah.
we'll be watching closely to see how this fascinating world unfolds.
Absolutely.
And we'll be sure to keep you updated on all the latest developments.
So stay tuned, fellow deep divers. The journey has just begun.
Thanks for joining us.